clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary, here with my beautiful, sexy wife. It's about to be her birthday, so y'all send happy day birthday wishes to this beautiful woman right here.
Aw. Hi, everyone. I'm Akti from Turkey, and happy birthday to me.
That's right. That's right. She's about to be a fine, sexy 26. Get them young, guys. Get them young.
Stop. Don't say stuff like that.
you know, Cook up something. But, Ramadan is a very sacred month. I'm a Muslim. It's a religion I converted to back in 2014, and I haven't been in God, believing in the Prophet, trying to be a good person, trying to do the right thing, and always striving to be better. I know I should follow the rules and traditions and the prescriptions that God gave us and the Prophet gave us, but I'm gonna get back on my deen sooner or later. But I do fast during Ramadan, and this month is my first time fasting in Hungary. And so I'm looking forward to it. And so far, it's been pretty good. And Akti, how do you feel about this month of Ramadan?
For me, like, I'm not a Muslim, and I really never tried to fast before. Like, maybe I tried to fast like 1 or 2 days with my parents and stuff like that. But for me, Ramadan is like more about, the traditions, getting together with your family in the dinner, in the iftar table. And yeah, just like it's a symbol for me, helping my mom and cooking with her and things like that. So yeah, it's like more of a cultural thing for me, and I really enjoy it when you fast because I get to cook for you, and it reminds me of, like, old days. So yeah, it's like a sacred thing to my heart for me. Yeah, no, no, like, I agree that it has like good psychological and physical like effects on you. It's sort of like a meditation if you think about it, really. And yeah, maybe I'll try this Ramadan. Maybe tomorrow I'll start and see where it takes me.
For Ramadan, what you're supposed to do is think about the poor, the people that are dispossessed, the people that have the least, and the people that are struggling. And currently, right now, there is a conflict going on in well beyond a genocide. Anybody with objectionable eyes can look on this and say that this is a genocide happening in Gaza. Twig Film Trelia says Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to you, good sir or ma'am, whoever you are. And I wish you a blessed Ramadan. But what's happening in Gaza is obviously a genocide. And I was just thinking today, because they say that most of the Palestinians are in the southern city of Rafah, right? They've all been pushed down from the northern part, and about 2 million people, after 30,000 plus have been killed, women and children have been killed by the Zionist Israeli army. They're now packed down there, and many of them are not able to get food. The Zionists are blocking the trucks who are delivering aid from getting in there because medical scissors are on board, and apparently that's a forbidden contraband weapon that the Gazan people can't have to treat the children who have lost fingers, arms, toes, eyes, and stuff like that. it's absolutely sickening what's happening there, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about all this today, and then the worst thing happened. The computer read my mind. Don't you hate that, Acty, when you're thinking about something and then it's the first thing you see when you open your phone or computer?
Yeah, I always, when that happens to me, just Michael Jackson's sound comes into my head. You know, I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Okay,
Now,
that wasn't Michael Jackson. That was Rockwell, but I get the
oh,
idea.
right, right. Sorry, but wasn't it with Michael Jackson? No.
No, it was not. It was Rockwell.
Okay, that was a fail. Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
It would have been. You were this close because I thought you were about to say "You are not alone."
Oh, yeah, that would have been better. I always think it's Michael Jackson, even though I know it's Maxwell. Sorry.
Not Maxwell, Rockwell.
I'm going worse and worse as I speak. Anyway, sorry for I'm not American. Sorry. I did
Anyways,
into these songs.
anyway, so I was thinking about how are the Palestinians getting food while the Israelis are blockading them, even worse than they were before October 7th. And the first thing I saw when I opened my phone was this article from the New York Times titled "The Daily Hunt for Food in Gaza," which was published on March 11th, 2024. Now, if you've been following the conflict in the Middle East and also following the reporting of it, the New York Times has been shaky at best. They sent out that false story that there were sexual assaults and attacks on women that were committed on October 7th. And they've had some other dubious reporting that makes it seem like, the Israelis are really the ones in danger. When the Gazan people and Palestinian people in general are the ones who are being targeted and stuff like that. But I do think this article is interesting in its own right, and I do think it's worth discussing. So, what we're going to do is react to it. My wife and I are going to react to the story, right here, right now, as we read it. And if anybody else wants to read it, I will be dropping the link to the story in the chat as we're speaking right now. But while I do that, Acti, would you mind reading like the beginning of this text for us?
Yes, of course. So, as we said, this is a New York Times article, The Daily Hunt for Food in Gaza, and it was published on March 12th, so today, 2024, by Amy Schofeld Walker, Rawan Sheikh Ahmad, and Malika Kurana. Kurana, I don't know if I'm butchering those names, I'm sorry. Um, okay, for 2 million hungry Gazans, most days bring a difficult search for something to eat. Amani Metir, 52, scours the streets north of Gaza City, where people sell or trade what food they have. This was the scene along Saftav Street 2 weeks ago, and there's like a gif of the street, and all the buildings are like just demolished, basically. um, Continuing farther north in Beit Lahia, Asel Mutahir, 21, said she and her family of four split one pot of soup and from an aid kitchen twice last week. One day they had nothing but tea. And you see this picture basically of like a broth and carrots inside.
Mm,
Looks like not very nutritious.
right, right. On it. And I also think that there is some hope and beauty in this story too, because even through all this tragedy that the people of Gaza are living through, where one day all their homes are places where they have family dinners, where they commune with their children, where they see their grandparents. It's all gone. They still need food, and they're still finding ways to make food. I just find this inspiring so far. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. And also like, it's kind of, I would assume, what they're going through is already traumatic, and on top of that, going through that during Ramadan, where you're supposed to fast and then have like this, family gathering sort of dinner at the end of the day. And then you can't even find anything for that. Like it I would assume that it just leaves you like longing for those times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. I'm going to
Mm.
continue here. So, Nizar Hamad, 30, is sheltering in a tent in Rafah with seven other adults and four children. They have not gotten aid in 2 weeks, and Nizar worked 2 days at a market to earn enough money to buy these bags of rice from a street vendor. As the war in Gaza enters its 6 month, the risk of famine and starvation is acute, according to the United Nations. Aid groups have warned that deaths from malnutrition related causes have only just begun. The war, including Israel's bombardment and siege, has choked food imports, and destroyed agriculture, and nearly the entire population of Gaza relies on scant humanitarian aid to eat. The United States and others are looking for ways to deliver supplies by sea and air. I would have to say, like in this situation, if you're a Gazan who owns like a supermarket or you have the connect on food, like I would be worried like there will be a price on my head. Like people will be out to get me low key. Now, I'm not saying that thinking that, the people of Gaza are like, thugs or savages or something like that. But when people are starving, anything's tempting, right? When the stomachs are empty, anything's tempting. You get what I'm saying? That's how I'm feeling.
I mean,
So I don't know.
I would assume like most of the people are like chipping in to like Ramadan, people who need like help, who people who don't have homes to cook in and things like that, because that's the thing, like maybe even if you have food, maybe you don't have anywhere to cook it because your house is destroyed. And
Mm,
I feel like in these times, most people do end up like opening up their homes, giving free food and things like that. And sure, like probably maybe there are people who, don't want to do that, which is also like it's their produce or their supermarket or whatever. So you can't really say anything.
yeah.
But yeah, I've also heard that like those aids, they drop it in the sea. So people like have to go like swim and take, those things to eat and then come back, and it's really hard. Like you have to like swim 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers to get the food, and it's all like, I don't know, soaked maybe, or probably it's in a good package, but it's just, surreal.
Hmm. Yeah, I heard that there were some people that actually were killed by the food aid that's dropping from the sky, and that what a bitter like imagine starving and you're waiting for the food to come, and the U.S. Army drops food from the sky and you get killed under that. It's horrible. Going to continue here. The problems are especially worrisome in the north, where aid has been almost non existent. UN agencies have mostly suspended their aid operations there, citing Israeli restrictions on convoys, security issues, and poor conditions of roads. The New York Times asked three families to share photos and videos of their search for food over the past few days. They all said that food was getting harder to find and that most days they did not know whether they would eat at all. One meal a day. Humanitarian aid convoys do not reach Asil and Asmani's homes in the north, and they have decided it is too dangerous to travel to seek them out. Instead, they head out early most mornings to survey informal street markets like this one. In the article, they show a picture of what looks like people setting up tables on the street with like fruit stands on there. It's very scant, and there's only a few people out there. It looks like they have things like lemons and jars of stuff, possibly pickles or other canned foods, things like that. I would be very interested to know how the economy in Gaza is working. Like, what are they using for currency? What's money? Because in a wartime situation where no business can be done, how are they actually, exchanging money, making money, that sort of stuff? I don't know. But what do you think so far?
I mean, to try to understand, I would try to imagine myself in that situation. And when I do that, or when I think of like, I don't know, like let's say Marmaris is getting bombed or something, which I know like that place, Rafah, is that right?
Yeah.
That's like one of the most overly populated places on Earth, like when you compare it to the square meter, and it's very big. So I would just assume people go and sort of do whatever they have to do or whatever feels right when it comes to like purchasing money with for goods and things like that. So yeah, like probably people take control of that in terms of like their standards and their like how do you say, like their responsibilities and things.
Shout out to Ozzy just jumping into the chat. He said, "Hello, Simon and Acty. Listening to you two build." Shout out to Ozzy right here. I would imagine in Gaza that maybe there's like a barter system happening. Like, okay, you help me pick up these rocks or rubble from my house, and I'll give you something that I have. Possibly something like that probably came up, but maybe they'll talk about that in the article. So some vendors. I'm going to continue reading. Some
Mhm.
vendors used to run grocery stores and are selling what stock they have left. Others buy and resell humanitarian aid. An average of just 6 commercial trucks carrying food and other supplies have been allowed to enter Gaza each day since early December. One of the cheapest foods a SEAL's family can find is ground barley, which before the war was used in animal feed. Corn flour is sometimes available, but it's most expensive. So basically, what they're saying here in the article is that people are now eating ground barley, which can be used to make couscous. Of course, barley can be used to make wheat and stuff like that. But it was mostly just used to feed animals. And if you've been following the commentary on social media, people have been saying the people of Gaza are eating animal food. Now, I heard that, and I didn't read into that more. So I was thinking that they were eating like canned cat food or canned dog food, which possibly could happen. That possibly could be a real thing too. But that's what they're saying that is the most cheap and easy meal to make. A pound of corn flour costs $5.71, and ground barley costs $4.44 per pound. And that's the easiest thing for people to get a hand on. But imagine if you have a family of four. I don't know if a pound of that could feed them for a week or months or however long this assault on Gaza will happen. What do you want to say?
Yeah, definitely. Like these foods are, I mean, they're nutritious in a way that they will keep you full. But yeah, thinking about like, trying to feed a family with like 4 kids, 5 kids, this is going to be like really expensive, I would assume, since it's a time of war also because nobody's earning money. And I also like this part, like others buy and resell humanitarian aid. So like I don't know like what is going on in there in that transaction. I hope it's not like something that they buy and then sell it for more. Hopefully. But yeah, like, I wouldn't really imagine that happening because humanitarian aid is free.
Mm.
So buying that and selling that is sort of, bad.
Right. I would imagine that the people that are delivering humanitarian aid are coming in there rationing it off. So, like, they'll come in here and say, okay, we have this much to give away. He gets 2 cups of rice
Mhm.
with 10 prices. That would be absolutely horrible. And I hope that's not happening either, because that would be gross. But in
Yeah.
wartime, bad things can happen, like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What can I say? This looks like horrible. This looks
Yeah.
terrible.
All right, I'm going to continue here. A seal's mother used these ingredients to make a piece of palm sized pita bread for each of them. I can't even describe how awful it tastes,
It looks
a seal
awful.
said. I'm not gonna lie. When I was really poor and I was living in Tunisia with my first wife, there was like a week where we had no money until I was gonna get my next paycheck. So she made something like this. I don't know what she did. Arab woman, Middle East woman magic. She went in the kitchen, grabbed like some flour, some something like that, and like made these little thin bread pancakes that look just like that, and fried them up on the stove. And we ate that for like a straight week, and it looks just like that.
Was it good or bad?
It was edible, like you said. It could keep you full. And if you don't know what we're talking about, we're reading this article on the New York Times, and they have a picture of this brown burnt thing. Okay, yeah, she flipped the thing around. Yeah, it looks like that. Looks horrible. That was a good idea. Yeah, flip it whenever we get to the pictures. How about that?
Yeah,
All right, you want to keep reading?
sure. Let's see. Even when Esel's family finds food before the afternoon, they wait to eat their single meal until dinner time so they can sleep better. On a recent day, her father found the small amount of rice at a street vendor's table, and a day later found this portion of flour after a 5 hour search. The discovery made the family feel festive, but the inflated prices chipped away at their savings. So
Mm.
I'll show the pictures. So this rice, okay, before the war it was $1.02, and now it's $11.43. Wow. And then the flour before the war it was 38 cents, and now it's $8.89. But that's such a crazy like price difference.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
By the way, FXD jumped in. He said, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to you. And yeah, this price, it's understandable on one hand that people would raise the prices because, scarcity makes things more expensive, of course. But in this situation, you would think that people would try to find a way to keep the prices low or try to share it as much as they can. But that's easy for us to say when we have bellies full and we're not fighting for our next meal. And the vendors too, they have families and they're going to do what's natural, try to make money to feed their families too. So
Yeah, but that's still like very, very, it's a lot of inflation like that happened there with the
hmm
prices. Like at least, yeah, like increase it, but not this much, I guess. And also
hmm
like thinking of these people facing war every day, and on top of that they have to like have a 5 hour search for like one portion of flour, and then they
hmm
have to like cook that, and all of that. That's like a crazy amount of physical and psychological thing that you have to go through every day. It's every day.
hmm this
Oh,
Ramadan, let's be mindful and let's remember the people of Gaza and what they're going through and how God is in control of all of this and how God can take away all of these things, from us so easily. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I'm going to continue. Asil's parents were unemployed before the war, but received some social services support because her mother is a cancer patient. One night, Asil, her parents, and her brother, Mohammed, split a can of mushrooms to go with the rice. Asil said she tried to convince herself it tasted like chicken. With the flour, they made a traditional pita bread, eating it with this soup from the leaves of a wild plant known as kubeza. Show a picture. Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that looks like something my wife makes. I feel like you've made something like that.
If you remember, like in when we were in the Black Sea, my grandma made a soup like this.
Oh, was that with the nettle when I
Yeah,
squeezed it
with the
and it
nettle
hurt?
plant. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, like with for Ramadan, this is not enough because usually like it's a tradition that you have a lot of things on the table when
Mm-hmm.
it's iftar time. You have the soup, and then the protein, the meat, you have salads, you have dessert, you have fruit. Like until
Mm.
sahur, you eat like kings and queens if you can,
Mm.
obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but that's at least that's been the tradition in my family. Like the best meals are done during Ramadan.
Yeah, yeah. Ozzy jumps into the comments. He says, I remember that video, the video where I held the leaves and my hands started prinkling. Y'all go find that video. That was when I was traveling in the Black Sea. But let's go here and continuing right on from this part. I see we you and your soul and your family. And let's continue reading the story here about the people in Gaza. So last week, they had no luck at the markets. So on Monday, Mohammed, 16, stood in line for 2 hours at a takia, a charity kitchen at a nearby school. He brought home a bowl of rice soup for the family, but Asil said he told her he did not like to be seen as begging. Asil ate 5 dates from the family stash and had a cup from her last container of instant coffee, a reminder of her life as a university student before the war. Interesting. Even when girls are in war, they're eating girl dinner. She's having dates, coffee. She's eating like a bowl of soup. What is this girl?
Ah, but oh yeah, like I was okay. Let me show the picture. This is the 5 dates, and then her coffee with a view of bombed houses. Nope. But yeah, I was also gonna say like, yeah, having being like even being middle class or being a family that could afford food in general, and then you have to go from that to sort of like this situation where you have to stand in line to get food for free and things like that. And this girl said that she feels like she's begging, and that's also like something that's not that easy to adjust to, I would say. Like, you feel sad, for example, you feel sad when people do things for you out of pity or anything like that in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine have to going through that like every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Ramadan, so it's like you have to, or you're gonna starve, or you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have to remember, we have to take a step back and remember that the people here are not suffering because of some natural catastrophe. It wasn't an earthquake, it wasn't a hurricane, it wasn't a tornado, it wasn't a tsunami. This is a man-made catastrophe where 30,000 people lost their lives. 2 million people were displaced in a very small area, and all of this was preventable. It was preventable before October 7th. It was preventable back in 1948. It was preventable way before then. This is a product of colonialism that we're still dealing with to this day. We are seeing white supremacy in play with what is happening to the Palestinian people, and people should speak about it. But also, the anti black racism that exists in Arab societies and in Israeli societies needs to be talked about. So
Yeah,
that's all I have to say. Uh,
exactly.
go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So into the comments, Fast said, "Your girl is a traitor. Stop the race mixing and free Israel." So Fast is obviously a troll because he does not know that my wife and I are both traitors to our own race. Yes, we both hate our own race so much. We hate our own race so much that we speak out against injustice and inequality for all people. We hate our own race so much that we decided to be advocates for all of humanity. So Fast, you're absolutely right. My girl is a race traitor, but so am I. So am I. I have betrayed any sort of race to advocate for the human race. Free Israel. I believe Israel is free. Last time I checked, Israel is not under blockade. Jordan can't tell Israel whether they can get goods in and out of their country. The Jordanians don't tell the Israelis where to live and how to live, unlike how the Israelis tell the Palestinians how to live in the West Bank, in Gaza, and in the Israeli state. All right. So, anything you want to say, Acting?
I just want to say that race is a social construct, so stop it.
Race is a social construct. So it is. So it is. Okay. Uh, Black people can't be traitors because you're lucky to be with a white woman. Acting. I'm lucky to
Can
be with
we?
that
I
black.
just want to
Yes.
block him. Can I?
Do you want to block him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
I
think we
can.
can
I
just
can
let him.
report him
Okay, you'll report him.
for
I'm
hate
just gonna let him
speech.
rock. I do have the power to block him, but I want people like Ozzy. I want other commenters to jump in and like wrestle with him because he wants to troll. We got a bunch of people here uh, who can handle him. But if he wants to get blocked, we might block him. But other than that,
Yeah.
we'll let him. Why not? Why not? By the
It's
way,
just stupid.
yeah. I mean, it says a lot about how his mother raised him, how his family raised him, where we're talking about 30,000 people who lost their lives, 2 million people who are in the middle of a genocide, and all he can do is think about my big black dick and his mother's pussy. I don't know why he's thinking about that.
Obsessed,
Yeah, I don't know.
jealous.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. A lot of reasons. A lot of
A lot of
reasons.
reasons. Anyway, continuing with the story here. The next day, Asil's father and brothers spent hours on their feet searching for supplies. They visited Asil's aunt and reluctantly asked her for food. She shared a small amount of lentils. They ate them that evening and finished the dates they had planned to save. They were too weak the next day to check the markets again, and there was no food at the aid kitchen. Instead, they drank tea. So, do you want to show them the list of what Asil's
Hmm.
family ate?
So I guess you can see it. Yeah. So this is what they ate like during 10 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like soup, and then other day rice and mushrooms, and another soup with the pita bread, soup again, um, soup, dates, lentils and dates, tea, only tea on Wednesday, and carrot soup again on Thursday. So it's basically like they're all eating the just liquid stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
really hard to like, it's really hard for that kind of stuff to keep you full. Like imagine fasting and then you have only tea for iftar.
I mean, yeah, it's like they're following Margot Robbie's diet for the Oscars.
Wow, yeah. And then they have to gather up the strength to continue the next day, which like here it says they can't, because how can you like yeah, you only ate like lentils and date that day, and probably very small portions of everything that was listed here. And
Mm-hmm.
then like next day you just like you don't have the energy to search for food for 5 hours, so you just got to like,
Mm-hmm.
stay
Mm-hmm.
and drink tea or water, just water or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're all going to be, six packs. They're all going to have six packs by the end of this, but it's still not worth
Don't
it.
stop.
I'm,
No.
I'm, I admit that it's a tragedy, but we also have to look on the good side. Washboard abs, baby. Washboard abs.
Mm. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ramadan is really a magical time. Maybe it's because of my culture. I'm biased, like, to think that it's magical. I do believe that, like, because couple of years ago Ramadan used to be during the summer, right? And every Ramadan it would be like that month of the summer is really breezy, it's really cool, it's not as hot, sometimes it rains. So I always felt like, God, even though I don't believe in it, something is helping these people to keep on fasting. And I always
Yeah.
felt that way. And I just really hope something like that happens this Ramadan for Palestinians.
hmm Let's hope Joe Biden takes Shahada. How about that?
We're
Uh,
waiting for you, Joe. If Joe takes Shahada, I'm gonna take Shahada.
okay, all right, okay. That makes me happy. I'm happy. Takbir, takbir. Anyway, human beings are energy, and my energy is depleted, Asil said. I can't endure more than this. Like Asil, Amani's family drinks tea to feel full. They used to fetch water from a nearby mosque, but since it was bombed, they have been buying water from trucks that pass by most days. Her family, seven adults, including her three sons and their wives, has been surviving on a broth made from water and cubes of chicken bouillon. When I can't think and I don't know what to do, I focus on the kids. But it's especially hard when they tell you at night that there's no food, Amani said. I swear to God, after this is all done, the Palestinians that survived this, somebody needs to write a cookbook on like struggle food, like the ultimate struggle food survival
Hmm,
kit. Like every college kid in the world will buy it, like hands down. And the
I
book
know.
comes with a kafia. The book comes with like a kafia and like 20 different ways to make dates taste like filet mignon. Like
Wow, it's all vegan. Vegans
it's
are gonna grab that shit.
it's all vegan, it's all raw, it's all like food you can make for less than $2.
I know, but I like just you reading this also like make me think about like how their days are, because imagine like just, you're fasting, let's say, even if you're not fasting, like you're I don't know what they're doing all day, like they can't work, they don't have their social lives anymore probably, their houses are destroyed, they're hungry, they don't have energy to do a lot of physical things. So
hmm
like, like what do you do all day? How does those like 24 hours pass? Because I also imagine that they have struggle sleeping as well because of the
Hmm.
anxiety, because of feeling tired, because of feeling scared. So,
Yeah.
sometimes like for us, a normal day sometimes go by so slowly because we don't have anything to do, or worry about something, and the
Right.
day is just really hard to pass. Think about like that, and they have to go through this every day, and they don't know when it's gonna end.
Yeah, exactly. I think what gives you the motivation to continue fasting is you think about all the other people who are fasting around the world. And then also, because I've lived in the Muslim countries, there is that social pressure too. You don't want to be that one guy caught, sneaking coffee and stuff like that. When we were living in Turkey in Marmaris, there was a woman across the way who I saw like occasionally in afternoons, like sneak a cigarette, and I was at home and I was like smoking and I saw her smoking and she was like trying to hide. There's that social pressure, but it's also just the will to do it. Like if you have belief, you can do it. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into the comments. Mad Villainy says, "Wait, I thought it was just sun up to sundown to fast. The way to fast during Ramadan is technically sun up to sundown. There's a time called Fajr. You're supposed to stop eating during the call of the first prayer. When the first prayer of the day is made, you can't eat or drink water or anything else anymore. And then during the fourth prayer of the day, Maghrib, which is usually at sundown, that's when you can eat. And it's different for different parts of the world. So if you live in Norway, the time to stop eating and start eating again is different than somebody living in Niger or Turkey, etc. Right?
Hmm.
So, yeah. Fast said, "Can you name a Palestinian invention?" Um, yeah, I can. It was the rockets that they used to blast bad Zionists who were trying to kill is Palestinian children. How about that? Those are great inventions. They built them out of Coca-Cola cans, rubber bands, and slingshots. Um, Matt Villainy says, "I love dates. Dates ain't cheap though. I don't. Yeah, this is the thing. In America, we don't really eat dates. But when I started traveling, I really liked dates. Like dates are really good, especially with like some really cold milk. Or I like the soft ones, not the hard and dry ones. Like the
Yeah,
soft. Yeah, yeah. How do you feel about dates?
I love dates too. They're like a great sweet snack, and I like the soft ones too, like the soft meaty ones. They're the best ones. But yeah, I mean they're expensive in Turkey as well. But
Mm.
they like the people like you can find it anytime during the year, but it's really the highlight during Ramadan because it's people open their fasts with water and date.
Yeah, yeah. One time I did Ramadan in Miami, and my friend, his name was Anas. He was from Sudan, but he lived in Saudi Arabia, and he got some dates from Saudi Arabia, and they go overboard with dates. Like they stuff them with like nuts and drizzle them with honey and like make them like gourmet. Like it was wild. It was the wildest date I ever ate. It was delicious though.
Wow, how do you dates are already like very sweet. Why would you put honey on them?
I don't know. They took it to another level. Uh, Roseanne says, "Are you two in different rooms?" Yeah, she's in the bedroom, and I'm out here in the living room chopping it up with y'all because we like the split screen. We like the split screen motion. Let's do the side face. Like, let's put our faces together. Can we do that? Make a half face. That's why we are one. Say it.
We
We
are
are one.
one.
Exactly.
What was that?
We just want to freak people out. Shall we continue in the story?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Many to feed. In Rafah, where Nizar is sheltering, there have been more aid deliveries than in the north, but the amount of food provided to each family, a bag of flour or a few cans of beans every few days, has not been enough, he said. Over the past 2 weeks, Nizar's family has not gotten any aid at all. They have just got one bag of flour left. The family used to draw on its savings to buy ingredients from street vendors, and Nizar's mother would then prepare one meal to split among 12 people. Wow. Can you show them the picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what they're cooking. It's quite amazing, man. Quite amazing. What do you think about this acting?
Yeah, like desperate times need desperate measures, and also need creativity. And um yeah, this is like you said, they need a cookbook, because probably a lot of the things that are happening here might be very practical. But yeah, it's once again, it's insane that they have to like do weird stuff with food just to feel full. And also we have to remember, like, whatever they're eating, it probably is just eating and not really tasting anything. Like, it's just calories basically.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have any flavor because they probably don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, because Middle Eastern people love spices, they love garnishes in their food. This is the real torture. Like they're telling the Israelis, stop the bombs, at least give us oregano. At least can we get some cumin here? We need some red pepper, some paprika. We need something. I haven't seen the word salt. The words salt and pepper are not mentioned in this article once. It's just
Yeah.
flour and barley. Matt Villainy says, I'm gonna write that cookbook using AI. It ain't gonna be the same with AI. You need a you need a real Palestinian to write it. You don't need AI. You need Ahmed Edin, not AI artist. Go ahead.
Should I read it?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
But Nizar said his family's situation was getting worse. The money he was saving for his wedding is gone, and the prices at the street markets keep rising, he said. Nizar took his photograph of a street shop near the Rafah border crossing on Saturday, where humanitarian supplies were being resold. Everything you see here is mainly aid, Nizar said, adding that most people could not afford the products on the shelves. He explained that some people sold aid when they had more than they needed. It is harder for people without connections to aid organizations or shelters to get assistance, he added. This is tiring and disgusting, Nizar said.
Yeah, let's show
Uh,
the picture. So in the picture right here, here's the shops that are in Gaza right now. And a pack of diapers used to be $8.40. Now it's $53 now. That's just disgusting. That's
that's
disgusting.
that's like our, one trip to the grocery store for like 10 days
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Exactly. Halva Sweets is like $7 now. Before the war, it was $1. So just buying a little piece of candy like this is now 7 times the price. Canned beans used to be below $1. Now they're reaching close to $1 just for canned beans. And shelf stable milk, $5 now. $5. This is more expensive than Hungary.
Yeah,
Seriously. Because going to the store in Hungary, a carton of milk is about $2.50 maybe, something like that. You
yeah,
know, it's insane. Like these, they're making it's crazy. Gaza is on one hand, it's like the Democratic Republic of Congo, and at the same time, it's Switzerland. Like imagine living in a place where there are no jobs, no electricity, you're getting bombed all the time, and everything costs more than a Gucci belt.
yeah. But I've also heard, like, before this whole thing happened, or also after it, like, there are a lot of like Israelis in our school, and I've talked to most of them, but I never really talked to them about this conflict because I just know them. I don't. They're not, some people close to me. So sometimes I think, like, one of the first times that I met one of them, I was asking questions about like Tel Aviv and Israel, and should like just travel advice and things like that before this whole situation. And they told me that Tel Aviv and Israel is generally very expensive already. So I'm
Mm,
guessing also maybe that's why, like, the reason as well
mhm.
for some of these things that are happening, like the prices as well. I don't know.
Right, but these prices, once again, they are disproportionate for the area, for the situation, and everything like that. Like this is a situation worse than South Sudan. This is a situation worse than Venezuela, and the prices that they're charging for things. are absolutely insane. And once again, this is a totally preventable situation. They are blocking the aid trucks that are coming from Egypt and also coming from different places. I believe there was a boat that came from Spain a few days ago, and the Israelis turned that boat away when it was carrying nothing but food. They let them in and check and see that there was nothing but food, and they turned them away. Anytime any country has tried to help the Gazan people just by sending stuff, basic material, they turn them away, which is why everything is so expensive there. This is a
Yeah.
tragedy. And for anybody who says this is not a genocide, that this is not something where they are trying to ethnically cleanse the people here, you gotta have cognitive dissonance. You gotta be a sick, immoral person to think that what is happening in Gaza is just natural. Like this is
Yeah.
okay.
Like fighting with military is something different, but purposely trying to starve people, bombing civilian cities is not like, it's not defending yourself. It's something beyond that. It's something more than that.
I, w-
So,
I,
yeah.
I want everybody to look right now. This is what the Zionists call Hamas. These are the dangerous terrorists who are threatening the lives of the Israelis. These are the people right here.
Mm.
These are the people that are supposed to be the most dangerous criminals. They need to be exterminated and wiped out. Him and him and him and him and him, all of them. Those are the dangerous ones, right?
Yeah, and also we have to remember, like, mostly in developing countries, there are a lot of children, there are a lot of like women, because that's usually like the percentage of the population that is a lot. It's like it's not Norway where you have like most of the population is like old and stuff. And yeah, like a lot of kids are taking this like toll really. And their diaper is like $50, more than $50.
Mm,
And I would also say, like, yeah, like the humanitarian aid is there, but not everybody can get their hands on it.
yeah, yeah,
Probably like it says it here, only like couple, not a couple, but let's say like only, you know 200, 300 people have a way with the humanitarian aid, and then the rest is probably bought by markets, or I don't know.
yeah. I wonder if they're allowing people in Gaza to get things like Western Unions, Cash Apps, We transfers, and things like that, because that's the only way they would be able to afford these things. Like you got a cousin, a father, an uncle in Germany or the U.S. somewhere who can send money back to you. Like that's really the only way. I'm going to continue here with the story. So whenever they can, the adults in his family save extra food for the children. The children also visit a takia shown in the photo that Nizar took in late February, where they wait hours for a container of soup or grains. So they are just sitting outside waiting to at least eat something from these large vats of food that you see here in this picture. What do you think, Acti?
Yeah, this is just very sad, because these children don't know anything about what is happening, and all of a sudden, from day to night, like they're out here like starving. Their families are being, their families are feeling shame for, wanting like food, getting aid, and things like that. They're seeing like incredible things that a kid should not see, and all of this, like, this has been happening, yes, but also like with this that's happening recently is going to create like a generation that is traumatized. And then you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you can never know, like, if this generation, it could be like, I don't know, really a depressive, like sick generation because of all the things that they have to went through. I'm sure some of them will excel above what is happening, but in general, if you think about it, going through a war, going through famine, seeing your family like that is gonna have a deep like trauma in all of these children.
Mm. It's going to create the next Osama bin Laden. We don't. You're going to say, of course, it's going to make people depressed, sad, mentally disturbed. That will happen, as it does in every war. But the war always comes home. There's this phrase we say in America: whatever war we commit abroad always comes back home. The people that come and shoot up all the schools or commit these mass atrocities, a lot of the times they had military training. A lot of the times they went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, went to Vietnam, and then they come back disturbed and spill bloodshed on our streets. It's literally crazy. They won't see this for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but Israel is literally creating the next generation of Hamas fighters. So when I showed that picture earlier and sarcastically said, these are the people that they need to exterminate, in a way, yes, because Israel knows any young man that grows up this way and he makes it to 20, 25, 30, and he's still living in those same conditions will have nothing to lose. And they'll see no problem doing heinous, horrible things worse than October 7th, 20 times worse than October 7th. And it will happen. And Israel will have nobody to blame but themselves. But Allah knows best. Allah knows best. Allahu Akbar.
Exactly, exactly. You know, because like the thing is, if does that if that does happen, like who are you gonna blame? There's no one to blame but the person who did it in the first place. You know, but the not the person, but you understand what I mean.
Right. And I would be a coon up tens of thousands of black Gazans there who were living in substandard conditions before this war happened. And I am more than certain, they are still being mistreated, abused. Probably they have the hardest time having access to food, still getting discriminated against, and all that sort of stuff. So, my thoughts and prayers are out for them specifically as well. But once again, this tragedy has continued to unfold to such an extreme amount that it just begs so many questions, and it does deserve our sympathy and something that needs to be looked at, I would say.
Yeah,
All right, you want to continue?
sure. Where did you leave off on Saturday? There. On Saturday, with no other food available, the whole family ate their day's meal from tekeah. Conditions would approve before Ramadan, which began this week. We will fast, of course, he said. We eat one meal a day anyway. For all three families, splitting limited food among. Okay, you were gone. For all three families, splitting limited food among so many people is a challenge. Amani, whose family of seven stays in an apartment with 23 others, said that life is close quarters was chaotic. People start criticizing each other and keeping track of everything, trying to hide things for fear they'll run out, she said. Some sneak out in the middle of the night to eat everything before anyone notices. Coming, I think. Yeah, yeah, now it's better. But no, you know what this sounds like? I don't know, maybe it's because I watched so many like movies that were located in prisons in the Middle East recently. One about Palestine and like one in Lebanon. And this sounds
Just say the names if you're
I
going to
don't
mention
remember the
them.
names though. That's the problem. But
Okay,
I'll
well, go
I'll put
ahead.
it in the
Go ahead. Go
comments
ahead.
like after the live. I'll look them up, and they're pretty good movies. You can check them out. But this sounds like prison. This sounds, in prison, a lot of people have very little of everything, and so they do like these weird things. They keep what they have from other people. They trick other people of their own kind and things like that. So this is what it sounds like. And it's normal when you're in a situation like this where you have like
Hmm.
very little.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's you know what they called Gaza before the war happened? The world's biggest open air prison. So, the way they're living now is just a more extreme version of what life was like already before. Before it was hard to get food, before it was hard to get medicine, before it was hard to get electricity, running water. And now this is 10 times that. So, I'll finish it up. We're only at the last paragraph here. Makeshift kitchens at Amani's home. Each person
And this is where I'm going to pick it up from. They built a fire in a room where a wall was blown out, giving them a view of the ruined buildings outside. We've regressed to the era of firewood and smoke, said Amani, who worked as a school administrator before the war. Asil moved back to her home in Beit Lahia in January after being displaced 5 times. Her family's apartment has no power and their refrigerator and stove sits empty. But unlike many in Gaza, her family still has access to a water tank fed by a municipal source. Now they cook outside, making scrap wood fires to brew tea and boil water for drinking and washing. This used to be our garden. It used to be filled with olive trees where our entire family would gather, Asil said, but now it's all been swept away.
lucky ones who still get somewhat running water, right? And once again, all of these things should give us inspiration and hope, even in tragedy. We should see things that remind us of what we have in our life, to be thankful and grateful that we're living in this Ramadan. And the people in Gaza who will survive this Ramadan will be the most blessed. They'll be the most rewarded in Jannah. They'll be the ones who get the most riza from Allah. So I hope so many of them will make it through this, and I hope the best for all the Muslims around the world. All the people of Gaza should be in our prayers. Even the Israelis should be in our prayers. We should pray that they have a change of heart. We should pray that Netanyahu has a heart attack. We should pray that Biden finally converts to Islam and says his shahada in front of the world. And we hope that Trump, slips on a toilet paper and knocks his head on the toilet, right? We hope for all of these things, inshallah. Inshallah, inshallah. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even though I'm not a Muslim, I still do like pray to a greater force. And I'm going to be praying for Gazans. I'm going to be praying for Israelis to change their minds and, um, look at what they are doing, reflect on what they are doing and what they're causing and how it's going to come back to them in the end and bite them in the ass. But yeah, this is really sad, especially it's happening in Ramadan. And like you said many times during the video, it was preventable. It is still preventable, but yeah, we're just hoping for something to change, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we hope all of you enjoyed this live stream. Don't just feel sad and depressed after reading this story. What you should do, even if you're a Muslim, you should be fasting this month. If you haven't started fasting, it's never too late to start. If you're not a Muslim, I suggest that you fast and you pray and you use this time, even if it's not a part of your religion. You could fast this month, still pray to your God. You will go to hell, but at least you did something good while you're in this life, right? So, but
Let's say it has good consequences for you if you do fast. Health benefits and psychological meditative benefits.
yeah, but the only problem is you prayed to the wrong God, so you got to burn, buddy. Sorry, but either way, uh,
Don't
we
mind
hope
him.
we hope that all of you have a blessed Ramadan. Try to send money to Gaza or help out in any way you can to help the people, and and that everybody has a blessed month. Gonna read this last comment from Mad Villainy. He says, "I can't say what race, what people. You know what? I can't say that." Kanye West. Oh man, listen, we have no problem with those people, with the small hat community, but Zionism is evil. Their religion is not evil, but Zionism, colonialism, racism, white supremacy, oh, those are evil. Those are evil, buddy. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Acty, any last comments?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. We're good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Shout out Mad Villainy. Shout out Roseanne. Shout out Fast. Shout out Ozzy. Shout out FXD. And catch y'all next time. Ramadan Mubarak.